jokes and really make something purposeful there at the end of the show. Imagine closing out and just completely disrespecting all these guys. But no, of course not. You know, Triple H, he was in the club not too long ago. He's now against them at any given moment with his buddies. So yeah, just was a huge cluster for me. So I've got to say I wasn't blown away by the show. I'm sure it will do wonders for the ratings. I have no doubt about it, because you only have to put certain names on it, and it will. But it's worrying, Matt, that USA Network are having to go to WWE to say to them, you've got to have all these guys come in because we need a decent rating, and then we'll play it, you know, twice over on replays, which we don't normally do, but we'll do it for this one. That for me is a worry there, Matt, in itself, that they're kind of suggesting they have to do this, because this is something that when WWE was hot, they would never have considered doing a show like this in the middle of where we are now.
No, not at all. And, you know, one more thing I'm going to add to that is I felt a bit shortchanged at the end. I was like, no one got stunned? Are you kidding me? Yeah. I was like, he's always supposed to come out and stun the biggest arse in the company. And Shane McMahon went there, so we couldn't see that.
No, we didn't see that at all. So, yeah, it was a strange show. Eric Bischoff was there in the back. I mean, I thought it was a waste of him as well. I mean, you know, honestly. But, yeah, there was a few things that came out. Obviously, one of our main guys, Matt, that always gets mentioned here, Sid, he didn't show up in the end. Now, he was booked, but we don't know what happened with him. Maybe he thought, you know what, there's nothing for me, I ain't coming to this. Maybe he thought what we were thinking. And, of course, maybe Jim Ross, at the end of all this, Matt, was actually thinking, God damn, I'm glad I didn't show up. Because no doubt they would have had something on him.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, because it's more the TV side of things that probably would put you off, isn't it? Because the after part, like having a bit of a gathering afterwards and catching up on the old times, that's probably the fun part of it, the best part. So it's a shame you'd have to miss out just because you're worried what WWE is going to make you look like or have you doing.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually listened to Jim Ross' podcast this week, and he was talking about that because so many people had emailed. But he said he was actually personally called by Vince McMahon. He didn't get someone else to phone him or anything like that. And, you know, he just said, look, because of the role he's got at AEW and because he's trying to show all these younger guys the way, he thought it would be a little bit out of tune to go to WWE and sort of not be consistent. But apparently he had Tony Khan's blessing. Tony Khan said you should go, you know, be honoured. You're the legend there. But yeah, it was Jim Ross's choice in the end to say no. So contrary to what people thought about, you know, AEW weren't going to let JR go, he had Tony Khan's blessing to go. He had no problems with that at all. So it was more of Jim Ross's decision. And you know, JR at the stage he's at, Matt, he's a wise guy to these type of stuff, and he knows Vince McMahon very well. And I'm sure if he declined it on a phone call to Vince McMahon, you know, then you've got to have some front there. And I'm sure he pretty much told him what he was telling everyone else. So you know, I think, to be honest with you, you know, look, they would have only had him call a match. You know, does he want to do that? As he said, the only thing he said on his podcast is that he misses is seeing all the old timers. That was it. But bar anything else, you know, really, what purpose is he serving at this stage? So, yeah, that's the Raw reunion. It'll be interesting to see what the ratings come out of this one, Matt, and if it really, well, you know, went up hugely. I'm sure it would have done, but no, I don't think it's going to go up as crazy as what they think. But maybe what they'll do, Matt, what Jimbo, Wrestler Squad number 9, suggests is he thinks they might combine all 3 shows and try and get it out of that to make it look good. And I suppose that is a way around it. Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if it's one of the better shows of the well, like ratings wise of the year so far, because just there was a lot of interest and a lot of social media out there about these wrestlers, and you're bound to want to see one of these people return. So I suppose that drew a lot of people in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, some not so good news that came out this week, and it was a bit of a noted point here, Matt, and I know we didn't bring this up at the start, but worth mentioning here is about, of course, WWE wrestler Jimmy Uso, Matt, was arrested in the early morning of the hours of just yesterday, and according to multiple outlets, Uso was arrested in Florida and booked just after 3 a.m. It marked a second alcohol-related arrest for Uso, whose real name is Jonathan Fatu, in the past 5 months. The reason this didn't go down so well, Matt, I'm guessing, is because of the segment on Raw. I mean, it couldn't have been any worse a time, could it?
No, not really.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
You don't want to end up with that reputation of being that guy that gets arrested and has these kind of sort of public wrongdoings that are going to get publicised and look bad on the company. I mean, no one wants to be the next Jeff Hardy.
No, not at all. So, yeah, a little bit of an issue there. WWE have made a statement about it as well. As every time I say that, I think of Booker T. Statement about it. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, I think Uso's got to be careful here because, you know, we thought last time that happened, Matt, that's it. They're going to get trampled on. But WWE actually went the other way with them. But they're only going to do that so many times. And it's like, come on, dude, you know, it's happened not that long ago. Just get an Uber. Come on. You know what I mean? There's no reason he should be driving around. I mean, look, I'm for everyone having a good time. Go out and drink and do what you want to do. But, like, come on, he's a professional guy. He knows what he should be doing, and you know they're a great team. And it would be a shame for this sort of reputation to tarnish his career going forward. So really bad timing on that one. Given the whole Raw outcome, you would have thought he would have been a little bit more savvy coming out of this one. So it's not great press there for WWE. Other news then. So let's move on to some stuff here, Matt, around the WWE again. And of course, this was their earnings call that came out. Just read you a little bit here from what was basically reported. WWE executives suspiciously sold thousands of shares of stock, which somewhat of a red flag considering some WWE backers in Wall Street have been hopeful of a wrestling boom period. So that did not help things a day before, by all accounts, Matt. So it's like, let's get the money and get out of here. Let's just sell up quick. So yeah, that didn't go down too well. After a rough Q1 in 2019 earnings report, WWE business has only continued to slightly crater its stock price, falling a whopping 31% since April's record high of which at the time was $99.43 average. Raw viewership in Q2 2019 of 2.3 million fans is now down 20%. And that is compared to last year's at the same time of their quarter there, Matt. So that's not picking up at all. And I know Vince put it down for not having Roman last time, but I don't know what his excuse is this time. And after decades of being able to successfully sweet talk investors and the mainstream media, some are now catching on to the very serious dynamics of WWE's alarming decline. Once a WWE PR safe haven, as many reported, ran a story about wrestling and the genius of it and everyone wanting to be involved in a multi-billion-dollar company, has now massively declined. So only other bits coming out of this: WWE Stomping Grounds and Raw and SmackDown broadcasts that followed reportedly drew a scary low attendance at the arenas, with Stomping Grounds managing only 4,000 to 4,500 paid attendees. This was not something that WWE wanted to advertise on the live show itself. However, these are alarming when these figures came out from the arena itself. The lowest pay-per-view buy rate in history was Stomping Grounds. So that is in terms of course, the pay-per-view side, which they don't use, of course, anymore, Matt, that much. But that is now in history, that goes down as the worst one ever. So that shows how well that done, of course. And even in an era where WWE largely gutted its pay-per-view business in favour of its flagship streaming service in WWE Network, a record low 9,800 buys is cause for concern. So that's interesting, because we don't always hear, of course, stuff. We don't know what NXT does weekly. We don't know what the pay-per-views do anymore, Matt, because they're not going to share that. But when you do hear about buy rates of just under 10,000, Matt, I mean, it's quite odd, isn't it, really? But I know that obviously the significant part of the audience is going to be on the network. But still, it's something to be noted. The only other news, that the day after the committee kicked off, WWE will be, unfortunately, planted as its own hot seat in what should be a tense Q2 in 2019's earnings call. In WWE's favour is the financial success of WrestleMania 35, in addition to WWE, of course, our favourite one, Super Showdown, Matt, in Saudi Arabia, as part of a Vision of 2030 deal, which netted a worldwide leader an estimated 70 to 80 million for 2 Saudi shows in 2018. Both events occurred in Q2 2019 and should help offset it not to mask WWE's significant financial downturn. Below are comments from McMahon and co-president George Barris, who also, both these guys, George Barris as well, the president, he sold a load of stock as well. So here's some of the quotes that come out of this one then. So during the quarter, we made progress on key strategic investments, stated McMahon. He also went on to say we completed content distribution agreements in key international markets, prepared for the next phase of our WWE Network service, and achieved a steady improvement in engaged merchandise. As indicated previously, we remain excited about the future, particularly with our debut on Fox in October. Other notes that came out was that WWE continues to toe the company line with a positive outlook. Its business, despite consciously mounting evidence suggesting otherwise. The tone and that McMahon was giving, however, was slightly concerning when McMahon was asked questions around the Saudi Arabia agreement and whether this has impacted on the loyal fans, which is something we've definitely been talking about here, Matt. Vince McMahon noted WWE hires Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman, whom he did not say by name, who was a move done to add to improve storyline arcs rather than get in the weeds, as McMahon put it, of storytelling. McMahon insisted the two will have a lot of control and decision making. While Vince McMahon admitted the product will become edgier, he noted WWE will only remain, get it, Matt, TV PG. The product, the Attitude Era, is not coming back, McMahon stated. Absolutely no way. McMahon did not mix his words in this one, referencing elements of the Attitude Era as that gory crap that we came from. Well, that's if that's crap, then I don't know where we are at the minute, Matt. But yeah, so yeah, interesting that he remarked it, that he must be getting a little bit frustrated or people keep going, I wish it was the Attitude Era. Regarding AEW, so someone was brave enough there, Matt, to ask him. I don't know, I think if I did, I don't think I'd be invited back there again. McMahon referred to the upstart promotion as potential competition, pointing out his displeasure with their blood and guts attitude. This is something that is prehistoric, says McMahon, and fans of today don't want to see this type of style. McMahon did not believe TNT, which will air AEW, would put up their type of content for long. WWE co-president George Barris did not comment on NXT to Fox rumours. Despite reports from mainstream media, Vince McMahon believes WWE has absolutely turned the corner in its storytelling and will now have more compelling storylines going forward for its loyal fans. So yeah, interesting stuff there, Mark. Mark, don't know why I called you that. got another host here now, Mark. Yeah, Matt. Sorry about that. Goodness gracious, I've only been doing this for 5 years with you. Yeah, interesting stuff there, Matt, about McMahon and his comments, because that's pretty much what I was interested in. I mean, I think